Welcome to CSN, the Network Podcast. This is your host, Kayvon Cutler, with my lovely co-host, Dream Nazario and Malik Hampton. How y'all doing this lovely evening?
Doing great, man. Another day breathing.
Y'all know me, blessed and highly favored. And I want to put emphasis on blessed. Always a great day to see you guys in the pod. So what up, what up? How you, bro?
I'm blessed and highly favored as well. Doing better now that I'm speaking to you two. And I'm just ecstatic, that it's full swing football season. My Yankees, we were able to punch our ticket to the wild card race. So we made it to the playoffs. So I'm excited, man. I'm hurt a little bit. My Niners lost, of course, but outside of that, man, life is good. Football is here, baseball is here, basketball. They're in training camp right now doing preseason in reference to the NBA. So I'm excited, man.
Word. That was a good game, that Yankees game. It was exciting.
For sure. We got to handle business tomorrow, though. No moral victories. We're all 0-0 at this point. The wild card is tough in baseball, so it's one and done. It's unlike basketball or where you get a series. Similar to football where it's just one and done. So hopefully tomorrow, we can send our ace out there and handle business, man. Shout out to my Yanks.
Word. So let's just hop right into it, man. Let's get to it. Let's get into it.
Diving straight into AAA prep West Virginia high school sports. An MSAC showdown took place this past Friday evening between crosstown rivals South Charleston High School against George Washington High School, both of which are both of our alma maters. G-Dub, Malik and Dree both graduated from G-Dub, unfortunately. And, I graduated from South Charleston, who was able to escape with a win due to stellar defensive play. South Charleston beat G-Dub 14-13, stopping G-Dub on a potential game-winning 2-point conversion with 1:18 left. SC was led by D1 prospect Mondrell Dean, who had the game-winning touchdown for South Charleston when he scored on a 22-yard run with 1:55 left in the game. He carried the ball 16 times for 112 yards, while quarterback Trey Dunn combined for 271 total yards and adding a score. G-Dub was led by their starting running back Matthews, who rushed 10 times for 100 yards, but G-Dub only had 189 total yards. South Charleston will look to extend their current win streak next week against Parkersburg High School as G-Dub faces Riverside High School. Moving on, top-ranked MSAC team and top-ranked AAA team Huntington High School, who is 6-0, beat their crosstown rival as well in Spring Valley High School in a defensive matchup 9-6. Huntington ran the ball 43 times for 187 yards with 122 passing yards, while Spring Valley had just 129 total yards with 3 turnovers. Spring Valley only ran 15 plays in the second half, where they only had 16 total yards due to all of the plays for loss. Huntington was led by their quarterback, Galvin Local, as he ran for 91 yards, while Curtis Jones ran for 71. Huntington will look to continue their winning streak against Woodrow Wilson High School next week, as Spring Valley will not play again until October 15th against local area Capital High School. Another top MSAC team in the area in Cabell Midland High School dominated in their win against Oak Hill High School as Midland won 56-16. Midland was up 49-0 after 3 quarters, where they were led by Mason Moran and Jackson Fetty, who've both been balling this year, especially Jackson Fetty. Both scored 2 touchdowns each in their rout of Oak Hill. Midland will return to action next week against Capital High School, as Cap has a rough couple of weeks coming up as they face some top MSAC teams. But shout out to Coach Mason and Capital High School, man. Definitely got love for the area and for the school. So hopefully they can turn it around. But that's your quick rundown of the local area prep West Virginia high school sports.
As always, I'll start with you, Lee. Any outcome that stuck out to you?
Probably the Huntington Spring Valley game. Spring Valley was coming off that big win versus SC. And, we've all been hearing about Huntington all year. Looks like, that was a real good game. I think he said 16 plays in the second half for 15, with like 16 total yards. It's crazy. Yeah, to be honest, I just wish I could have seen that game. It sounded like it was a banger from start to finish. But yeah, that's probably the most for sure that I'm surprised with. We keep hearing about this Huntington team. They just keep, they keep winning in different ways.
Sound like they're the real deal. Holyfield.
I was just about to say that. They're not playing this year at all.
Is it too early to call it? Do we like them in the championship game?
It's probably too early to call it, but you can see that they'll have a good chance. It just depends on who they match up with in the playoffs.
For sure. But I could see them in Martinsburg potentially going head to head in that chip.
Yeah, for sure.
But like bro said, as it looks though, looks like they're going to have home field advantage in the playoffs in reference to Huntington if they can stay undefeated. So they might be well on their way. They just got to handle business. Him and I both were blessed to play for two good programs in reference to South Charleston and G-Dub, where we both were highly ranked going into the playoffs. And bro knows, that first matchup in the playoffs is pretty favorable. It's those next two games where it's kind of tough for you. So, like I said, if they continue dominance, they'll be able to have home field advantage. So regardless, they can control their own destiny. So we'll see going forward. But I'm not gonna lie, this is coming from a South Charleston guy and a G-Dub guy and bro and also G-Dub woman and Dree. But I like Huntington coming out of that MSAC this year. I'm not gonna lie, but hopefully we could change that trend in reference to South Charleston. So we'll see.
Yeah, they'll probably have to play 2 games to not win it. It just depends on it. I don't think they're gonna lose though, as far as regular season. So
it sounds like they played all the kind of top ranked teams already.
Played everybody else. I don't see them losing out on the MSAC at the minimum.
Yeah. Yeah. Any surprise outcomes for you, Kayvon?
I wouldn't say it was a surprise outcome in reference to the South Charleston G-Dub game. I was just surprised, I did go to the game. I was just surprised that they went for it, went for 2 rather in reference to G-Dub. I'm all for, I could just think of the famous coach, Herm Edwards, we played to win the game. I could just think about that rant. And for sure, I respect that, but man, and I get chances make champions, but I don't know. I don't want to deem that move as greedy. So, what you think about that, Leak? Going for 2 where you could just tie it with a field goal when you already kicked the field goal earlier in the game. Why not just kick it in? Let's go to OT.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I didn't go to the game, so I couldn't tell you, how the momentum was looking. It sounded like he just wanted to get out of there with a win. But, in high school football, you got to think it's not like higher level football, so it ain't like somebody going to get in field goal range and kick a field goal a lot of the time. It can happen. But yeah, I don't know. I probably would have kicked it too, to be honest with you. Took my chances in overtime.
Yeah, man. Don't get me wrong, though. The defense for South Charleston was stellar, as I mentioned previously. So I get, why he'd want to, because they scored rather fast. You know what I mean? Shout out to Lex, little brother Mondrell, Dean. He scored. Then they came back down and scored not too long after that. So he probably was thinking, well, we were able to move the ball. Let's strike it while it's hot. But yeah, I would have liked to see, field goal. Let's go to OT and duke it out. But I'm glad the guys came out with the win, man. Shout out to SC.
Word. Any standout performances for you guys?
Honestly, probably just going back to the Huntington defense, man. 15 plays, 16 yards and a half. That just sounds like, that just sounds like good style defense. That's probably the biggest surprise performance to me. That whole defensive unit, I give them their credit. That's tough.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, man. I'm in full agreement with bro. Their defense put on the show. Anybody knows anything about Spring Valley High School, they know that's a power heavy team. So the fact that they were able to, limit them to basically nothing in the second half is very impressive. I will give Huntington that for sure. So, yeah, man, that defense just as a team, shout out to that whole defensive unit down there in Huntington, man. They're doing something special this year. Because again, like bro mentioned earlier, this is a team, let's be clear, that beat my alma mater 53-8 just a week prior to that, just to turn around, only have 16 total yards in the second half off of 15 plays. That's tough.
It sounds like it was some rugged, defense driven football played this past week. So hey, shout out to the defense. Defense usually doesn't get much credit, but shout out to the defense. So with that being said, we'll move right on into NCAA football. First on the docket, we got number 1 Alabama beating number 12 Ole Miss.
Roll Tide! Nah, man, I'm just, I'm excited. That's one of our rivals right there in Ole Miss. So I'm just happy that we beat them first and foremost. And, I will say, let me start by saying this, and Malik and I, we talk about coaches and their schemes and how they recruit, and, how they call the game off air and, on the side whenever we talk on the phone. But, I respect Coach Kiffin, Lane Kiffin, his offensive mind for sure. But I just think, I hate that we kind of got so short in reference to football fans. Now, of course, I don't want to sound, too greedy here or, someone that's ungrateful. I'm happy that we got the win. But, going for it on 4th down 3 times in a row in the first half, let's be clear, the first time that they went, it's in reference to Ole Miss, the first time that they went for it was in the red zone. They could have easily kicked the field goal lead. So instead of them not getting any points from that drive, it could have been 3-0 them. You know what I mean? I get the analytics, but okay, so let's just go through it real quick. Okay, they went for it in the red zone. They were moving the ball. Let me be clear. This is a Bama fan. They were moving the ball in that first drive. I'm like, man, it's all right. It's looking like it might be a shootout. They kind of moving it, man. We're gonna have to make some adjustments. Every play league, they running the read option, putting the ball in the running back stomach. Every play, running play action, every play, and just running some type of action off of that. So boom, first drive, they get down to, I want to say, within the 10-yard line. Boom, they went for it on 4th down, ran the ball. Shout out to our D lineman, Tim Wright. He made a heck of a play in the trenches. Stopped them on 4th down. Boom, we come down, scored 7-0. Okay, boom, they get the ball back. Dre, they did not cross the 50, so they're still, in their own territory, so to speak. Boom, 3rd down comes. Okay, boom, they don't get it. 4th down comes. To my surprise, I want to say they're like on the 31, Lee. They go for it again, don't get it. Boom, of course we scored 14-0. All right, now I'm thinking they're done going for it on 4th down. You know what I mean? In reference to being in their own territory. Dre, I kid you not. Their 3rd drive, they were in their own territory again and went for it on 4th down again, to my surprise, and they didn't get it. And we came back and scored 21-0. So for those, you know what I mean? Because Ole Miss is a powered offense, and Malik is aware as well. I just, like I said, I didn't like that the game started like that, because it could have easily been, all right, boom, it could have been 3-0. Then we come down, score. Okay, now it's 7-3. You know what I mean? I just like to play complementary football, right? So don't put your defense in bad position. You know what I mean?
Right.
I watched a little bit of his post game, and he kept saying, the analytics, if we punt it and they score anyway, it could have been, the score could have been what it was anyway. But I'm like, It would have took them longer to score it, which he mentioned. You know what I mean? I just didn't like how he did that, to be honest. I thought it was gutsy. I thought it was arrogant, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It sounds very prideful. Because didn't he have a very, I guess, like, I would say prideful again, a pregame interview?
Yeah, he did. For those that didn't get to see it, the young lady, she's a great journalist. Can't think of her name off top, but she asked him, just about basically just how he plans the game plan against, coach Saban, and he was just basically like, you just have to wait and see. Get your popcorn ready and through the headphones. I'm not gonna lie, as a fan, that sent me over the edge. I was excited for the game at that point. I'm like, okay, get your popcorn ready. We gonna see. And then shortly thereafter, 21-0, first quarter, like it's nothing. You know what I mean? So very arrogant move, but I'm glad my boys pulled it out. But I want to highlight Brian Robinson Jr., who he came back for his senior year. He was a senior last year, but it was a COVID season last year, so he came back again. He's the head honcho as far as the running back room. Brian Robinson Jr., it looked like old Alabama football, Malik, in reference to that just ground and pound game. Bro had 36 carries for 171 yards and 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. Bro was eating on Saturday. So I definitely want to, give him his flowers. You know what I mean? And shout out to Bryce Young. Bryce Young is, he continues his Heisman campaign. Right now, he's the betting favorite for those that like to bet. For those that are curious, Bryce Young had a 91.1 QBR. He went 20 for 26, 241 yards with 2 touchdowns. That's now 17 total touchdowns in his first 5 starts, which is more than Tua, which is more than Mac Jones, more than Jalen Hurts. So it's we're looking good on the up and up, man. I definitely loved how the defense dominated in the trenches league, both the O-line and the D-line. That's where the game was won. And you know all about that, being the SEC man yourself, those trenches are very, very essential to winning games. You know what I mean? If you can't win in the trenches, it's going to be tough for you. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to pass block, you're going to be able to run block. So many things that are just clogged up or messed up due to the trenches. So I'm just glad we were able to win in there and we were able to, change the tide. Because like I said, Ole Miss was moving the ball on their first drive. They didn't cross the 50 those next 2 drives, y'all. So we made adjustments, man. Shout out to Coach.
Got anything to add, Leaky?
Nah, not really. I was past the beginning. I thought that was funny as heck. I mean, I expected Bama to win that game. I know one of Ole Miss's receivers couldn't play. He got hurt. There's nothing really that surprised me. I didn't expect the Ole Miss to win. Maybe I expected them to maybe make it look good for the first half. I didn't expect it. He really shot himself in the foot going for it. He didn't really give him any chance, to be honest with you. So yeah, I don't have anything to add.
So as a player, does that affect your locker room? Like after the game, are you pissed because he kept making these bogus play calls, or is it just like, something you just take the good with the bad? Because you give them I guess at the end of the day, the players still have to, make the play. But like you said, if you don't give us a chance to, does it change the feel of the locker room after that game?
Maybe their first L of the season.
It was, yeah, it was.
They can still play their way into something good. They gotta hope things happen, but they can still play their way into a good bowl game or something, So the season isn't completely over for all of this. So it shouldn't affect them too much. They probably was down just because it was a big game. They probably wanted to put a better showing out there on TV, But other than that, I mean, it shouldn't do anything crazy to the morale of the locker room.
I was just about to say, well said right there in reference to the morale of the team, because I agree wholeheartedly. You know the game plan, and this just talking to Dob, the interview we did with Dob. You know the game plan going into the game. You knew 2 days before that, 1 day before that, 3 days before that, what we were going to do. We've been going over it all week long. So it was no surprise that they went for it on fourth down. It probably was a surprise that they weren't successful, but it was to no surprise. So like he said, I wouldn't necessarily feel any type of way towards coach. If I played defense, I probably would be looking at him just a little sideways, like, come on, man, you putting us in the worst possible position, period. But I mean, I would just keep my comments to myself, you know what I mean? But offensively, I would just, you kind of just have to have some level of accountability, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I said, going into the week, you knew you was going for it on fourth down. You knew you were their away team. You knew if you got it on fourth down, you would change the momentum in that building. You know what I mean? You would tone the fans down. So, you just got to do better executing. A lot of those fourth down plays I feel like they learned their lesson trying to run it on that first fourth down, so they tried to throw it. Y'all should try to get more open, man. Work on your route running.
Okay. So moving on, we got number 3, Oregon is upset by Stanford.
Watch that game. That was a weird game. Oregon's starting running back, CJ Verdell got hurt. I know he might have did something to his knee. It looked bad. But to be honest with you, Oregon shouldn't have lost that game. I think they kind of got railroaded by that ref. And a lot of people, they hate that excuse, but there was a pass interference play called. There's a pass interference flag called from the last play of the game. They gave Stanford
another chance
to score at the goal line, and they ended up scoring and then going into overtime. But it was shaky at best. But Stanford got a couple penalties. They got a roughing the passer penalty where the pass. I want to say they said he hit him across the head or something like that. He didn't go down or anything. They got a bunch of penalties on their last drive, and then eventually the pass interference on the last play to give them an extra shot. So, you still got overtime to play and execute, but I don't think it should have went to that. I truly think Oregon should have won the game. That last drive was bad. All the penalties that went against them just to keep giving Stanford chances. Some of them were questionable, but shout out to Stanford.
Yeah, they hopped out kind of quick too. Oregon had that early turnover in the game. They found themselves down early, but they came all the way back and recaptured the lead. Like bro said, it just unfortunate at the end they couldn't close the deal. But it was like a back and forth game kind of. Pac-12 is so unique to me, just from the standpoint of they'll have a team that you think is hot, or that you think is just full on handling business, and then they lose to somebody they shouldn't lose to. So we'll see what happens with Oregon going forward. I want to say the loss didn't hurt them too bad, even though Oregon was unranked. But let's see where they fell in the top 10.
I think they're still top 10. I think they're like 8.
Let's see where they fit real quick. Yes, sir. Number 8, like you said, still top 10. Shout out to BYU, man. BYU is in the top 10. Who ever thought, man? You gotta love college football. Iowa's in the top 10 as well. Top 5. They were in the top 5 last week, but they're number 3 in the nation. I haven't seen that in my lifetime. Iowa ranked that high, to be honest. So, that's good for the program, man. Yeah, man.
They had a few good years back in the day.
They did, for sure.
They did. I remember, I want to say maybe middle school. We were in middle school,
Yeah, probably.
maybe early high school.
Yeah.
I remember they had they had a good team back in the day because I used to play with them on the game. I remember that.
Yeah,
That's the only reason I remember
Got you. You're a different breed running with Iowa on the college.
that. They had a nice little run. But speaking of top 10, we had number 8, Arkansas, get shut out by number 2, Georgia.
That was a
Dominant performance by the defense.
for sure. I mean, Arkansas kind of shot themselves in the foot too. They came out and played undisciplined football. So I know like their first 3 drives started, you know, they didn't even have starting drives at the 20-yard line for the first 3 drives. I know one time they muffed a kickoff, started up inside their own 10. The very first drive they had like 3 or 4 penalties that drove them all the way back, and then they got a punt block on like the 3rd possession. Just a rough start to the game, honestly. You can tell nerves was bad, so they got themselves in a hole. Georgia's quarterback only completed 7 passes. They only threw it 11 times. They ran the ball the whole game. Arkansas runs 3-2-6 defense. So they only have 3 down linemen. And to be honest with you, that's just not a good recipe for playing Georgia. Like, everybody knew they was going to run the ball. Once they knew they could run the ball,
Easy.
they literally just ran it all game. I don't
So
know Arkansas, but they didn't give themselves a chance either by coming out and just not being disciplined. You could tell they were nervous.
so what do the 6 do? Do they just blitz or they just sit out there? Like, why they run?
It's like
60
six defensive backs. So it's just more people in coverage to stop the pass, confuse the quarterback a little bit. It's bad against run teams. Like,
Yeah, they act like Georgia is like a pass heavy team. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, if everybody knows that Georgia is a run team, like, what do they have the DBs doing? Like, were they just sitting back there, or were they like blitzing, or what? Like, nothing.
I mean, it just depends on
On
the
the back
time.
end.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't give themselves any chance.
nah. Especially having 6 DBs out there. That's what Ole Miss did against us, and y'all saw what Bro did. Like, come on, you got DBs, nickelback, safeties trying to come on. We got to put some of the big dogs in there. You know what I mean? So you can kind of get some run stops. But hey, man, keep running out there with your 6 DBs, man.
Georgia's giving up like 4 points a game. They've only given up 1 touchdown all year.
I'm glad you said that. Yes, because that was one of the talking points. They've only allowed 23 points total all year and 1 offensive touchdown. That doesn't make me nervous, though, because I know we can afford this. And I feel like y'all can, too. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta see. Really looking forward to y'all's game when y'all play them, though. Hopefully, y'all's other QB is back by then for sure. So.
I'm not even worried about the game anymore.
Oh man, you can see it written all over your face, man. You can see it written all over your face. But we're gonna move on to another top 10 matchup. Notre Dame loses to number 7. Notre Dame loses to number 9, Cincinnati. Is this an overreaction? Is Cincy a true contender?
Overreaction Mondays.
Nah, I think Cincy's a true contender.
I do
think
too.
they can play just about
Anybody, yeah. Coach Fickle is doing his thing over there. I hear they're moving to the Big 12 too, so that'd be a great look for the program. Which might explain why he's not hopping on some of these coaching gigs. Makes sense. Because honestly, I thought he would have moved on 2 years ago. I'd heard his name for a big job that I won't speak on, but yeah. So if he knew this was this was written, I definitely commend him for sticking it out and just being consistent with recruiting and just with their execution as a program. You know what I mean? They finished out the season ranked last year. They're top 10 team this year again. This year, looking like they may have playoff hopes. So yeah, that was a good game on Saturday. Definitely, probably outside of the Bama game, probably my most favorite game to turn into. Notre Dame just started off slow, and I'm not really sure what their plan is, in reference to the different quarterbacks they were using. You know what I mean? They both threw picks. Notre Dame just started off slow. They kind of, to use Bo's term, they shot themselves in the foot too with early turnovers, and kind of just got in the hole a little bit. They ended up scoring, of course, and fighting back into the game, but yeah, they just never could fully come all the way back. But yeah, that was a big win, big win for the University of Cincinnati, man. Like I said, shout out to them. Shout out to the young boy, man. We have one of South Charleston's very own plays for Cincinnati, so that's a big win for them right there, man.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep it moving. And then we're gonna talk top 25. We got number 19, Oklahoma State, beating newly ranked Baylor, number 21.
That was a good back and forth game as well. That was one of the games I was, flipping back and forth between Florida and Kentucky and Oklahoma State and Baylor. That was one of the games I took to, man. Good back and forth. I would say Baylor just had trouble stopping the run with OK State. You know what I mean? The quarterback played well in reference to OK State. I can pull up the numbers here, but overall, man, that was my biggest takeaway. Was just it was a back and forth game, as normal Big 12 games are, but they just had trouble stopping the run. OK State, their running back, Jaylen Warren, had 36 carries for 125 yards and 2 tutties. So, like I said, man, they were dominating. That's another team that was dominating in the trenches. Their quarterback, OK State's quarterback, he threw 3 picks, but he also ran for 76 yards and he threw for 182. He's silly. And Tate Martin, OK State's senior receiver, number 1, he had 6 catches for 110 against Baylor on Saturday. So it was pretty good offensive performance by them. I feel like the point differential would have been different without the turnovers, but nonetheless, OK State is 5-0. So it's a great start to the season, man. What you think, Luke?
Yeah, I think, OK State's just surprising people. Shockingly, though, because they're normally always in the mix. I think they've just been going under the radar a little bit. But it's a good solid win for sure against a ranked opponent. That's 2 in a row against ranked opponents. So shout out to Oklahoma State. They're doing what they normally do. It might look a little different, but they're definitely in the mix for the Big 12.
Word. So now we got I don't know if we call it a major upset, but we got number 15, Texas A&M gets upset by Mississippi State.
I will say this real quick. I do kind of feel bad for Texas A&M. I'm not gonna lie, because what you think at the end of the game? I don't think his knee was down, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a tough call. I know it's bang bang. I hate to be that guy to blame, but I don't. I went back and watched. I don't think his knee was down. Bro was crying. You know what I mean? Not to be funny, like that. I just feel like for him to be that emotional about it, there's no way he thought he was down. And I don't think he was down either. You know what I mean? So I definitely felt they got the short end of the stick there. But I mean, to be honest, they shouldn't have been in that position. Honestly, Texas A&M. Another game where they started off slow. And bro brought up, Texas A&M last week when we talked about them because I told him that's one of the teams I was looking forward to playing. Just because I like, I'm not gonna lie, I like their facility, their resources, man. College Station, I like playing there. But I just thought, it'd be a bigger game when my boys travel to College Station this upcoming Saturday. But Texas A&M, that's 2 losses in a row. Yeah, man, that game ended crazy though. That Texas A&M quarterback was not down, in my opinion. But what you think, bro?
They just missing a quarterback, man. They just don't look good. They haven't looked good really since the beginning of the season. I know they had a banger game with Colorado. Speaking on Texas A&M, so not really shocking, like you said. It's not really a shocking upset. They were trending on the downward path. So, yeah, I'm not too shocked about it. Mike Leach can coach some offense, so I'm not shocked about them, throwing the ball everywhere and being able to score a little bit of points as well. But like Kay said, tough call there at the end. But nothing too shocking, though. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen Texas A&M play multiple times. They're literally missing a quarterback. They don't have.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. I was gonna ask what's the problem with Texas A&M
quarterback play. They're not. They're not like a weak. They don't really have any. They play everything like solid. Like all phases. It's kind of solid for the size of the quarterback play. In my opinion, I don't think their defense is slouch. They can run the ball with Spiller.
Yeah, Spiller nice.
So
Spiller nice.
Yeah, I don't see anything weak besides the quarterback in that consistent passing game.
Valid, very valid point. And we got moving on. Last on our list of NCAA football, we got unranked Arizona State upsetting number 20 UCLA.
Man, I want to highlight Malik real quick because he told me about Arizona State's quarterback 2 years ago. He's a junior now. Threw for over 300 on Saturday. Man, as he just came into his own. So I shouted Malik out on Twitter about it because, like I said, he's one of the first people I knew that brought his name up. Bro definitely balled. Just to go through it, man. ASU ran the ball well on Saturday. It was a late game. Shout out to Coach Edwards. They ran the ball, man. They basically just did everything they wanted to do. They beat UCLA 42-23. I mean, their quarterback, and for those that are wondering, ASU starting quarterback is Jayden Daniels. He's a junior. On Saturday, he went 13 for 19 for 286 yards and 2 tutties. So,
yeah, that was
I misspoke. I didn't mean to say he went for 300.
They handled him for sure. Jayden Daniels, I like how he plays, man. He had a real good freshman campaign. Last year with the Kobe year, I guess you can say it looked like he regressed a little bit. He didn't do what people expected him to do. But he's got talent, man. He's got arm talent, crazy. He's kind of on the slimmer end. That's a lot of the what's the word I'm looking for? Not feedback, but pushback. It's a lot of pushback on him. He's got a slight frame. I think he was only like 200 pounds coming into the season, and that was like a major story. Like, he's just a skinny guy, but he could throw the ball, man. He's got good touch. He can make good decisions. I'm sure the pandemic year just, slowed everybody down in some way. But I like his game a lot, man. He's from California, so he's a little motivated to play against UCLA. He almost went to UCLA. I know he talked about that before the game. So he had a lot of family there. He was just motivated to play. So I'm sure that has something to do with the performance he put on Saturday as well. But Arizona State's they're a solid team, man.
Yeah, for sure. Bro went for 331 total yards, man, rushing and passing. So, yeah, that's a big win for them, man. Chip Kelly and them are now 3-2. ASU is now 4-1. Like I said, man, that Pac-12 can be interesting, man. Every week, it's like you think someone, building that momentum, or they get a W that they think they're supposed to get, and boom, you have games like these because, ASU is still a formidable opponent. So, like Bo said, they got, a great prospect in their quarterback. Their running back had 2 tutties. Their leading receiver had 2 tutties. Ricky Pearsall, Smooth Rick. Yeah, man. He had 4 catches, 132 yards, and 2 tutties. So.
Word, shout out to him. Well, that wraps up our NCAA football portion, unless you guys have anything you would like to add. Any games you're looking forward to this week?
This week,
There's some good games coming up this week, too.
it was supposed to be
Oklahoma, Texas.
Oh, okay. Rivalry.
Yeah. Arkansas, Ole Miss. That should be a shootout.
Yeah, that should be a solid game.
Georgia and Auburn.
They gonna blitz Auburn.
State, Iowa.
Penn State, Iowa's gonna be a banger. I'm gonna watch all of that game. I'm sure that's where game day is gonna be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Especially
top 5 matchup right there.
Iowa.
I want to say Iowa. Let's double check. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
it is in Iowa. Yeah.
Georgia, Auburn ain't nothing to worry about.
And nothing I want to add per se, but I want to shout out to North Carolina State University and, little bro Derek. They got another dub this past weekend, man. They're now ranked in the top 25. So, shout out to NC State and Reek and them, man.
Shout out to the family. Shout out to the family. All right.
Really can, man. That ACC is wide open.
Yeah.
Jack and I was talking on the phone. They definitely still got to play Wake Forest.
I'm going to that game too. That's right down the street. Right down the street.
In Boston College still. So we'll see though. But ACC is definitely wide open this year for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely got to take care of business though. Definitely got to take care of business. With that being said, let's go ahead and transition into the NFL. First on the docket.
Guess I'll get started with my, San Francisco 49ers who lost to the Seattle Seahawks. Why are you laughing, Dree? I'm trying to, just man up, take it on the chin. You know what I mean? Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, for those that are wondering. He threw a pick early, but despite, that one particular instant, I felt like Jimmy played good. We just had so many opportunities to score the ball at the beginning of the game, man. So many 3-and-outs by Seattle. I want to say they had 2 3-and-outs to start the game. I know for certain they had 2 3-and-outs to start the game. And we just could not capitalize outside of our first touchdown, man. We just, I would have felt more comfortable if we could have put 14 on the board, but that wasn't able to happen, man. Once how it is, man. Seattle's eventually going to score. Russ is going to do something. So that's one thing I'm noticing about our division. Blake and I both fans of teams that are in the NFC West, and the Rams can score. The Cardinals can score, and the Seahawks can score too. We know the weapons that they have, and we could score too. We have the weapons. We just haven't been, putting it on the field in reference to showing, how useful our weapons are in reference to putting points on the board. We haven't been able to show that yet. But shout out to our rookie, our young bull, Trey Lance. He came in and played. He played decent in the second half. I only say decent because, he went 9 for 18, but he showed flashes, though. He threw for 2 touchdowns. He was able to scramble a good bit. He had 41 rushing yards, which is another variable that we now have to our offense, having a running quarterback. So, um, originally it was reported that Jimmy G had a strained calf, which is why he went out the game. But it was reported today, Coach Shanahan said that he may be able to return this week against the Cardinals, which is a big game. We're coming off 2 losses in a row, so we need this game right here. This is a must-win. This is a division game against the Arizona Cardinals, who are, believe it or not, 4-0. Like I said, they look real good, man. They can score just like the other teams in our division, but they look real good, man. They got the weapons. They got Christian Kirk, AJ Green, D-Hop, DeAndre Hopkins, Chase Edmonds. Everybody knows Kyler Murray. He's looking like the front runner for MVP this year. So, the pass rush is going to have to get after him. But yeah, man, I'm not too down about this loss because Jimmy got hurt. And I know, like I told the group chat, like I told Kels earlier today, that's a tough circumstance to get thrown in a big division game like that, especially when you weren't expecting it. But hopefully, if he does get to start this upcoming Sunday, he'll be, better suited for the game plan, be well prepared like I expect him to be. And, we can get that dub. But yeah, man, the defense, like I said, I'm not down on this game too bad. The defense, we got as many stops as we were supposed to. You know what I mean? Of course, I know they scored more than us. So yeah, granted, we could have got more stops. But like I told y'all, if y'all watch the game with me, y'all would see at the beginning of the game, we had so many opportunities to go up 14-0 on them, no problem. At least, and I'm saying 14-0 because we could have at least won up 14-0 on them. And for some reason, we just couldn't punch it in, man. We can't string together, third down conversions like I wanted us to. Similar to how we did a couple years ago when we went to the Super Bowl. We were one of the top third down teams in the league. So we just got to get back to that, man. So we'll see, man. What you think, Luke?
That game was it's just an NFC West battle, man. Russell Wilson just did some Russell Wilson things, made some plays. I expected it to be a good game. Can't say I really expected them to win because Seattle's defenses look terrible versus everybody else they played. But yeah, you miss opportunities and just keep giving Russell Wilson time to do some things. Normally Seattle will find a way to get the ball in the end zone. But other than that, just a good division game. Those games are normally always close, to be honest with you. So I wasn't really shocked about the outcome. Anxious to see if we see more Trey Lance, going through the season. But other than that, just a good old solid division football game, man. Nothing too crazy with that one.
What we got next? The Rams versus the Cardinals.
Yep. Both y'all teams took an L this week.
That's a fact. Thanks
Rams off the big win last week too.
Yeah. I expected this game to be really close, to be honest with you. I wasn't, the Cardinals hadn't beat us since Sean McVay was the coach. So he was 8-0 versus them, with that being the 9th game. Normally teams are just going to break through. They got, a couple new players all over the place. They're playing good football offensively. I just think, we missed a couple opportunities. Slafford missed a few throws earlier in the game that he normally makes. Like I said, I thought it would be a back and forth game, but we couldn't capitalize, and they just kept scoring. They do got a lot of receiving weapons. Jalen Ramsey did his job by taking care of Hopkins yesterday, but AJ Green was killing our third corner. That just goes to show you that Brett still got some talent there. Kyler Murray was able to get loose, unlike any other time we played him. So to be honest with you, I mean, they just played a good game. They spanked us for sure. But I'm sure we'll probably get them back on the back end. I'm not too worried about that one. We needed a game where we got it back in check a little bit, bring us back in since we've been, just running through this first quarter of the season. I expect us to be better next week for sure.
What y'all got?
I have no clue, to be honest with you. I want to say, I don't know. Our schedule's tough, to be honest with you. Who do we have?
Let me check for you, Bob. Y'all have
Seahawks. I was about to say, I think we got.
So y'all just flip-flop.
Got to figure out where we're watching it at. That's Thursday night football right there.
Yes,
Finally a good matchup.
Yeah, finally a good one.
But it's all good, though. I'm not mad at the league because I know everybody has to play a Thursday night game, so I try not to get.
Well, I wasn't mad about the Jaguars Bengals, to be honest with you. I feel like that'd be a hard game, but I didn't like what was it the Jets and the Panthers
The week before.
the week before. Like I didn't understand that.
It was something like that.
The goddamn Jets. Y'all remember?
I think everybody has to play.
Y'all watch Big Daddy?
Oh yeah.
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the little kid was like, the goddamn Jets.
Yeah. Jets. They first win. I've seen a lot of people talking about that too. I've seen that one happening though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Tannehill ain't got nobody to throw to, man. That ain't a good recipe for anything. Derrick Henry would have had to literally
Go for 200.
Win the game by himself.
But yeah, man. The Arizona Rams game, I mean, bro hit it right on the head, man. But it was a pretty impressive performance all around offensively for Arizona. Kyler Murray threw for 268 and threw for 2 touchdowns. Chase Edmonds had over 100 rushing yards. Their backup running back, James Conner, he had 2 touchdowns. And like bro said, AJ Green had 5 for 67 with a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins had 4 for 67. And then Max Williams, their tight end, he also had 5 catches on 5 targets, by the way, for 66 yards and 1 tud. So, they, like I said, a well-rounded offensive attack. We got the highlights up now. Stafford definitely missed a couple throws early, man. That's one thing I'm learning for sure, especially this year in our league, man. You got to strike it when it's hot. It's not like, and I appreciate Malik. He always just reminds me, because he knows who my team is in college. It's not like college, and it's not. You know what I mean? You're not going to score 5 out of 7 possessions, or 6 out of 8 possessions. Like sometimes there's going to be some stops that are strung together. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to score when you have the opportunities to score and execute and complete some of these throws. And, unfortunately for both of our teams, that just didn't take place consistently enough this past week. So hopefully we can get it back in a week. Like I said this last week. I'm gonna say it again. I'm probably say it every week. If we lose, it's the only tough thing about football. We both all of us are avid football fans. But when you lose, you gotta wait a week. Got to wait a week to get it back. Basketball, you lose, you might be able to make up for it tomorrow night. Football, you got to sit on that for a couple days. So
let it marinate. Next on the docket, we got the Cowboys. They beat the Panthers. Shout out to my big bruh Dre. May he rest in peace. Big Cowboys fan. Cowboys look all right this year.
Yeah, I was just about to say, shout out to Coney. I want to acknowledge the Cowboys, man. They look pretty good, Lee. I mean, coming in, Carolina was undefeated. They beat an undefeated team. Granted, their star running back did not play whatsoever. So it's very hard for them to get their running game going. I picked up their backup running back, the Panthers did in fantasy. Didn't work out in my favor, but It's all good. Man, shout out to Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboys, man. One of Alabama's, product. He has 5 interceptions in 4 weeks, man. He had 2 picks yesterday. He's had a pick in every game they played this year. So, the defense is, getting stops. Dak is playing lights out, man. He airing it out. We know they got the receiving core. CD looks good, man. Here in the second year, he's really stepping up to be that just bona fide threat on the outside. And yeah, man, Zeke balled yesterday. Their tight end Schultz balled yesterday. I got him on fantasy too. I didn't start him, but yeah, it's a good win by the Cowboys. I must say, I wanted to see the Panthers play somebody real good, and I feel like the Cowboys are real good. They got the dub. Shout out to DJ Moore though for the Panthers, man. He tough. He tough. I'll be honest. Coming out when he was coming out of Maryland, I was so confused why the Panthers drafted DJ over Calvin Ridley. Who I just feel like is a great route runner, one of the greatest route runners that come through Alabama's program. But yeah, I mean they both ball, but DJ is definitely came into his own. Definitely proved that he's a bona fide number 1 receiver without a doubt. And I just wanted to shout him out, man, because he balled out yesterday for sure. What you think, Blake?
I think the Cowboys do look better than what they did last year. They're getting turnovers. That's probably the biggest difference, to be honest with you.
Like, you gotta keep it real too, bro. You thought that corners were gonna be out here getting burnt, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, their defense. I mean, their passing defense isn't crazy. They're just getting turnovers.
Nah, for sure, yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, I think they're just playing well balanced football on offense. Depends on if they stay that way. It depends on the opponent as well. But I mean, the Cowboys aren't anywhere where I didn't expect them to be at this point. I expected them to lose to the Chargers, and they honestly could have lost to the Chargers. But this game versus Carolina, it does nothing for me because Carolina, they haven't played anybody. I know they played the Jets. I know they played the Texans. And I think they beat up them. I think they got the Saints too. And, the Saints have been up and down this year depending on who they're playing. The Saints lost to the Giants yesterday, who was 0-4 and just finding new ways to lose. That's the Cowboys. I mean, they doing what they're supposed to do right now. Like I said, they're playing a little bit better on defense, especially Diggs. I give a shout out to Diggs. I like how Dan Quinn is, calling the defense, the cover 2, just letting them play out there on the outside, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Zeke had a nice little game yesterday. I think he went for 145 or something like that. We hadn't seen that since 2018. That's the most he's had in the game since 2018. So the Cowboys they're playing ball, doing what they're supposed to do right now. I just be anxious to really call them that contender and everything that everybody's saying until we truly see it.
Oh yeah. Now I wasn't saying that in reference to the NFC because Cowboy fans, man, you just made me remember just how they be acting, how they've been acting.
Oh yeah, it's the media too. I mean, the media. Anytime they get to talk about the Cowboys like that is the richest franchise of any sports team, so they're valued the most. So anytime they get to talk about them, they're going to do that as well.
No, that's a fact.
So they're playing good defense, way better than we expected it to be, and that's definitely helping them out, being able to get turnovers. But we just got to see, Dre. We need to see more.
Word. All right. So next we got the Browns. They beat the Vikings. Is this our overreaction game? Are the Browns the real deal?
The Browns are a solid football team for sure. I mean, everybody knows they got a good roster. I think just like the Cowboys, they're where we expected them to be at this point in the season. Coming off the year they had last year.
I was gonna say they had a pretty decent year last year too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, nothing too crazy. Minnesota missed a couple opportunities yesterday, but other than that, they've been doing what I expected them to do as well. I think the Browns are a good team.
I appreciate you acknowledging that, just from the standpoint, because I remember us having a conversation over the summer, and he was like, "The roster looks good, but they got to, show it on the field." So, I share those same sentiments in reference to feeling like they have a talented roster. My only thing about the Browns is just Baker Mayfield, man. You know what I mean? Like, Baker has to continue to improve, but he also has to be consistent. Like, for example, Baker went 15 for 33 yesterday, no touchdown, and only had 155 yards. Malik, that's 4.7 average per throw. So you can say 5 yards per throw. That's not going to cut it in the AFC when you have to play the Chiefs. You know what I mean? And some of these teams that can really score. Baker, y'all have a two-headed monster in that running back room. It's insane. You know what I mean? Just the running backs that they have in Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I mean, they both had good games, both getting over 10-plus carries. Nick Chubb had over 100 yards. Kareem Hunt had 69 yards and 14 carries. That's 4.9 average yards per carry, and he had a touchdown. You know what I mean? So, but it's good to see Odell back out there, one of my personal favorite receivers in the league, who I think is very talented. They're missing Juice Landry. So, their offensive weapons are kind of, lacking a little bit in reference to their outside guys because they're getting healthy. But still, all in all, again, I'm not trying to, get down on Baker because I think Baker has, arm talent for sure. He just has to display it on the field consistently. And, I know Mike Zimmer and the Vikings, that's a well-coached, defense over there. But, yeah, man, I just wanted to, bring up this game for, not only our Cleveland fam, in reference to all of us, Malik and I, but, also, the fans out there. That's the Browns they have one of the most loyal fan bases that you're just going to find in the league, period. And I respect that because, let's be frank here. Prior to these last couple of years, the Browns is just, nah, you know what I mean? I respect the loyalty. I respect what they've been producing on the field. They're 3-1. So I think they're legit AFC North contenders, you know what I mean, in reference to that division. But yeah, man, we got to see just as far as just the AFC as a whole, man. We got to see. Because like I said, that's a tough list to go through in reference to that AFC, all the teams they have to beat. But I do like what Cleveland is doing, man. They definitely look like they're one of the, even though 3 teams in that AFC North is 3-1 right now. The Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. Who would ever thought that the one that's sticking out like a sore thumb would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 1-3. Man.
They're looking bad over there, Coach. But I got a quick question for you guys before we get into our last game recap. What do you all think happens to Deshaun Watson? I know I heard you guys mention the Texans. I seen they got beat pretty bad yesterday or Sunday. Well, yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah. So what do you think happens to Deshaun Watson? Does he get traded? There's what's going on with him?
They're gonna trade him eventually.
They're going to trade him eventually. Malik, I don't think he's going to play this year, which is weird just because I've never seen a quarterback in his prime who's fully healthy just not play. Now, do I think there's some foul play in there? Absolutely. But as my best friend, our co-host, I'm all in full support of women. So I definitely think there was some sketchy activity going on. I mean, why are you using so many different a massage therapist? I mean, that's interesting to say the least. So I bring that up to say they have to figure that out legally. So he's not going to play this year. They can't be so quick to pull the trigger on trading him because a lot of teams are, potentially worried because of you know, the legalities of the situation. You know what I'm saying? They have to figure out, they have to let the legal process run its course and see from there. But I definitely think he won't play this year. Definitely think it's unfortunate because I definitely think he's a great talent, great arm talent. Malik personally thinks that's one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, and I agree. He's right up there with Patrick Mahomes, y'all. Y'all don't believe it? Cut the tape. Cut the tape. Look at what he did last year with those weapons he had. You know what I mean? So and I don't mean to come off wrong whatsoever. All people are innocent until proven guilty in my mind. But I just want the legal process to run its course before we really give our full opinion on everything that's going on as far as that stuff. But yeah, we're gonna see, man, because the Steelers could use a new quarterback. It seems like this is Big Ben's last year. I know they got Dwayne Haskins waiting in the fold, but if you can get Deshaun Watson, why not? You know what I mean? I heard about Miami, even though I want to see Tua stick it out. Alabama, we don't have too many starting quarterbacks in the league, and that's one of my personal favorites that came through the program. So hopefully, I'd like to see him keep his job. But if Deshaun goes there, I do like Miami's roster, so that that could be great. I also like what they're doing in Philadelphia as far as the young talent they have. I heard he could go there too. So it's a few destinations that I could see him going and having success. But like I said, we got to see how that legal process plays out. But yeah, he definitely won't be playing this year, baby. It's crazy too because y'all trade a star wide receiver, no consulting whatsoever. Don't say anything. J.J. Watt gets to go, no problem. Deshaun Watson wants to go. Now y'all release all these complaints and stuff. So,
Right.
like I said, definitely some foul play in that, but gotta let the legal process run its course. So.
Yeah. You got anything to add, Lee?
Nah, man. They're gonna trade him eventually once they figure out more about the legal situation.
Yeah.
I know they was asking for a lot.
Yeah, that was just a random question that popped up when you all mentioned the Texans. So just thought I would ask that real quick. All right, last up, we got Tom Brady and the Bucks. They slipped past the Patriots in New England. It was an emotional game, a lot of talk around this game. What do you guys think?
Thought it was a well-played football game, to be honest with you. I know Brady was down some weapons. They had the Patriots was hyped up. They had a solid game plan. You could tell it's probably emotional for Brady throughout the week. He really wanted to win this game. They booed him when he first came out there. I thought that was pretty funny.
He said that was fun.
Yeah, just because you could tell because they were showing him so much love because he had like a presentation right before kickoff. So for them to show him that much love, and then as soon as he gets on the field, they boo him. I thought that was funny and cool, to be honest. We still cheering for our team that you ain't playing for no more. But I'm sure it was all in love. But it was just a good game, to be honest with you. Each team just did what they needed to do to win the football game. I know Mac Jones made a couple turnovers. I know one kick for sure got sacked like 4 or 5 times. But Tom just made sure he didn't make any mistake just to give his team a chance to win. I know they kicked off field goals. So, yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, it was just a good game across the board. They just did what they could to get the W. That's what that was more so about last night, was getting the W. Um, and people say that Belichick probably should have went for it right there, 4th and 3 at the end of the game. Because if you get it, it gives you a better chance and a closer field goal, to try and win the game. But I mean, he probably didn't trust Mac Jones all the way. But the Buccaneers defense was depleted, so I mean, either way you go, it's you can call it one way or call it the other, depending on that decision. I don't really see it either way. Kicker missed the field goal. It was kind of inclement weather. But other than that, it's just a good football game, good solid football game. Honestly, it's a true chess match with the Buccaneers being so injured. Tom Brady just had to make sure he didn't make any crucial mistakes to keep putting points up. I know he wanted to go off a little more, but he'll take the dub for sure.
For sure. I would say, man, they were talking all week about the matchup, of course, Brady, Belichick. I just feel like last night was just a true testament to how good of a coach Coach Belichick is, how well prepared that team was, how great they played defensively. That defense really kept them in the game, really kept Tom Brady and that explosive offense, in check for the most part. I know Gronk wasn't out there, but, they played great defensively, holding them to what they held them to. And Mac Jones, Mac Jones played decent. I know he went 21 for 40, but he at one point in time, he did end up break the NFL rookie QB record. He had 19 straight completions last night. So he definitely showed the promise in that inclement weather. I would have liked to see them, and I know I just got done talking about this at the top of the episode with, Alabama and Ole Miss in reference to going for it on 4th downs. But it was just something I saw this morning. I would have liked to see them go for it on that 4th down just for a couple reasons. Number one being it makes the field goal shorter. You know what I mean? So it makes it an easier field goal to make in that inclement weather because it was raining pretty good last night. And number two, it takes more time off the clock, right? So, if I'm thinking back to last week, Sunday Night Football, when my Niners lost to the Packers. Yeah, we lost, but we scored and we had 37 seconds left. You know what I mean? So we could have won the game, but we should have ran the clock out a little bit more. But of course, that's hypothetical. But if they would have made that field goal last night, it still would have been over a minute left. It's a lot of time for Tom Brady. You know what I mean? So if they would have went for it on 4th down, of course, time would have ran. You know what I mean? You probably would have forced them to call a timeout. Now you could run it 3 straight or do whatever you want to do to kind of chew that clock, then kick the field goal. But of course, like I said, I don't fault Coach Belichick. I don't second guess him whatsoever. I just like, man, that's kind of a long field goal in this type of weather. Would have liked y'all to get a little closer, but nonetheless, man, it was a great defensive game on both ends. The Bucs have a stout defense, especially run defense. Everyone knows it's hard to run against the Bucs. So, it was a great defensive game both ways. Like you said, a chess match, man. Shout out to the Belichicks, rather. His son, he did a great job calling that game defensively. And, yeah, Mac showed promise, He definitely looks real good for a rookie quarterback. And I'm not just saying that because, he went to Alabama. I'll be honest here. I was advocating for Cam Newton to start, and, if we want to go there for a quick second, if that was Cam Newton in 4th and 3, just imagine with all the stuff you could have did with Cam Newton in there at 4th and 3. I'm pretty sure he would have went for it because Cam Newton can get you 3 yards, no issue. But yeah, man, Mac won the job. He got the nod, and like I said, man, he broke an NFL record last night, so definitely showed promise, man. Definitely has great
didn't
potential.
have no expectations for real. Like that game wasn't about Mac Jones.
Right. They
Nobody-
probably, they weren't expecting to do much.
Brady and the defense, what I'm saying, vice versa.
Yeah.
And plus, they were literally down to no corners. They were playing like their top 3 corners are hurt right now. So that's why Richard Sherman had to play yesterday. Carlton Davis got hurt in the game last night. So I mean, it just set up perfect for Mac Jones. I don't think personally Mac Jones is that good, like doing that good, as they were trying to make him seem. That's just my personal.
Don't he already have like what he got, like 5 picks already?
Yeah, he
on the
was
season. Maybe more.
Like his attempts per pass is one of the lowest in the league. His touchdown interception ratio up until last night was pretty bad. They just do a lot of dinking and dunking with Mac Jones. They try to protect him a lot, and it hasn't worked out. But it might have been a big boost of his confidence last night. Playing that game so tough and he really played Brady, to be honest with you. But they were looking at 2 totally different, to be honest with you.
Off of that, real quick, since you mentioned Cam Newton, do we think his NFL career is over?
Who cares? It doesn't matter now. I don't, but it might be, to be honest with you. Depends on if he wants to be a backup or not.
That was going to be what I was going to say.
Yeah, so it's really just depends on that. Other than that, I mean, it happened. His last real shot, I feel like, was right there in the wing, but they made a decision. So he's rich.
He'd be all right.
Yeah, got the cool YouTube show, the podcast. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna check that out. I ain't seen it.
I won't say just because, I don't want to manifest anything negative. You know what I mean? I don't want to say he won't play in the league again. But like bro said, if he's willing to be a backup quarterback, I think he definitely has opportunity to play in the NFL. As far as that starting role, it's a tough league, man. When the Pats want to let you go, just how the league is, man. And franchises value the opinions of, a Super Bowl organization such as the Pats. So if they cut you, word gets out why they cut you. And, I won't speak on it. I listened to a podcast where a Patriots insider speaks weekly. And during training camp, he had all the, reps, completions, just the different analytic stacks to compare Mac Jones and Cam Newton. I see why they let go of Cam. I honestly do. But I just would have liked, to see them stay. But like you mentioned on this show, maybe his personality and just his aura as a person, as a quarterback, being Cam Newton, may have been too big to be the backup for Mac Jones. It just would have been a lot to have that, right behind you. You know what I mean? So that's another thing teams have to think about. I won't say it's similar to the Tebow effect, but it's just he just has such a starring personality. You know what I mean? It's just tough to see him as a backup. You know what I mean? Because he's going to get a lot of attention. A lot of media is going to be coming his way. You know what I mean? It's just a backup. So Malik knows how the league is, man. They don't like that. They don't like that at all. It's very straight and narrow kind of in the NFL. When you got a backup that's kind of, being more glamorous or, get more glory than the starter, it can kind of be viewed as a distraction. So, I think he's a great talent. One of the best dual threat quarterbacks I've seen. He leads the league and holds the NFL record, which will probably be broken by Lamar Jackson in no problem. No time for the amount of games where he threw for a touchdown and ran for a touchdown. But yeah, man, it's definitely tough to see Cam go if it is his last season. But hopefully he can get another shot.
Word, I hope he does. I hope he gets another shot. So that wraps up our NFL portion of the show. We're going to move right into our last portion, and we're going to talk about the WNBA playoffs. We got the the Mercury. They're up 2-1 in the series over the Aces. The Aces got the first game, but the Mercury have won 2 straight. Phoenix is just so deep. I think they're just wearing the Aces down. In game 2, Diana dropped 37. And then you come back in game 3, and Brianna Turner has 23 and 17 boards. Then you got Brittany Griner, who had 18 and 11 boards. And then from there, Diana had 9, Skylar had 5. And then they had some people off the bench give them some good minutes. So they're just well balanced. They played everybody on their roster. So they went, what is this? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they went 11 deep. Everybody on their roster played minutes, regardless of how many minutes it was. They played minutes, and they all had positive plus minus ratings. Whereas the Aces, they struggled. The only person who scored double digits was, as far as starters, was Liz Cambridge, which is the 7-footer, well, almost 7-footer. But she only had 13 and 5 rebounds. So I think the Phoenix Mercury are just kind of wearing the Aces out. Like I said, they're just deep. They got a lot of talent.
For the Mercury, she's the only guard that scored double digits for the Mercury.
Who was that?
Shea Petty.
Oh yeah.
She had 10 coming off.
Coming off the bench. Yep.
She had 10 and 8, may I add.
Yep. So they play their it could be the final game Wednesday, just depending on like I said last episode, the WNBA does a best of 5 series of 5. So yeah, they can close them out on Wednesday, or they could let the Aces hang around. But I think Phoenix is just too deep for them at this point. Oz are gonna have to step up for sure. And even Kelsey, the sixth woman of the year, she struggled too. So they're gonna have to figure some things out, because they whooped them. It wasn't even like it was a close game. They whooped them. And then moving on, the second semifinal game, we had Chicago Sky. They squeaked past the Connecticut Sun, 86-83. They're now up 2-1 in the series. Candace had a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Stevens had 15 and 11. Their guard, Kalia Cooper, she's been balling. She had 26. And they couldn't do nothing with her. She was getting to the bucket however she wanted to. Went 50% from the 3-point line, and went 5 for 6 from the free throw line. So she had a really good game. I'm honestly surprised. The reigning MVP, Jonquel Jones on the Sun. She only had 10 points. She had a double-double. She had 10 points, 10 boards, but obviously you expect more from your reigning MVP of the league this year. So it was still a good game. It wasn't like they got blown out or anything. Just lost by 3. But yeah, again, game 4 on Wednesday. It's win or go home for the Connecticut Sun.
I have a quick question for you.
What?
How did Chicago make it to the playoffs, given their record?
I guess they just got hot at the right time, honestly, for the WNBA, like I said. So up into the semifinals, it's win or go home. So all you got to do is take it one game at a time. You got to win one game at a time. So it obviously worked in their favor. The matchups worked in their favor, and they got hot at the right time, because they're clicking.
everybody makes it?
No, not everybody makes it. Not everybody makes it. I'm not sure. I want to say it's like the top. I want to say eight teams. Yeah, they just go 1 through 8 or 1 through 10 maybe, and then those are the teams that make it.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
I picked the Aces to win it, so I need them to win today.
Yeah, I think they were definitely favored to win it, but again, Phoenix got hot. Phoenix didn't look that good in the playoff game when they played Sue Bird and the Seattle Storm. They didn't look that good, but they must have turned it on. But Diana was also, hurt. I think she's been rehabbing extensively. And then in this last game, she was just a decoy. Like, they run into her because she had just had 37, and then the post players go off. So,
got you.
They just got a balanced team. Anybody could have a good night.
And to piggyback what Dree just explained, just to educate our listeners, there is 8 teams that make it to the WNBA playoffs according to their format. For those that are curious, it's the 8 teams with the highest winning percentages, regardless of conference. They qualify for the playoffs. So that would explain the structure.
Yeah, that's why I was like just 1 through 8, so it don't even matter West, East. It's just top 8 teams. Yep. That's all I got, brother.
And I want to add, man, I won my parlays this weekend.
Hey, that's always a blessing. Wing night on you then, huh?
What y'all be on? What you be on, DraftKings, or you be going to the
That's a good question.
Okay.
You consistently hit.
It just depends, to be honest, because I put them in on both. Last year I hit on FanDuel more than anything as far as football goes. But I switched to DraftKings after they took the teasers away from FanDuel last year. They got the teasers back, so I'll be playing teasers every Sunday. College football, I like college football. I like DraftKings a little bit better because you can damn near pick your spreads on DraftKings. So you ain't gotta always go exactly what the spread is and know how to put it together. But NFL, I like to bet on FanDuel. NCAA, I can do both, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
Word.
Well, it's another week in the books, another episode in the books. Definitely want to thank y'all for listening to our most recent episode 6. Episode 7 is going to be coming to y'all real soon. Episode 8, we got a surprise for y'all. And yeah, man, definitely keep watching, viewing, listening. Follow our social media pages. That's at CSN_the network. Again, that's at CSN_the network on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Facebook is CSN the Network Podcast. And yeah, man, we just want to thank y'all for liking and subscribing and listening to our videos and our content. And this is your host, K Cut, with my lovely co-host, Dree, Lake City. And, CSN the Network Podcast, man. We out.
We out.